Hey guys, what's up? It's Wilfredo here, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to part 3 of this 4-part video series. I know you could have been anywhere else right now, but you decided to be here with me, and for that, I'm eternally grateful to you. And if you're new to my channel, I'm a knowledge entrepreneur bringing perspective, passion, and a social impact to the underserved student. I help convert high school dropouts into accredited high school graduates and provide them with a roadmap to transform them into successful entrepreneurs. If you're new to my channel and you have not seen the first 2 videos of my series, I suggest you check them out here first before you watch this video, as it will keep you up to speed with the series. So in video number 1, I elaborated on the realization of education being the first necessary step to living an abundant life, and how I can help guide you through the process of your new journey from my own experience going from high school dropout to successful entrepreneur. And in video number 2, I talked about how high school dropouts will earn about $200,000 less than a high school grad in their lifetime and almost $1 million less than a college grad, and why you should really invest in your education and how to do it without going broke, and how to learn to budget your money to put yourself in a better and happier position for the future. So make sure you watch this video to its entirety, as I will be sharing with you the latest test-taking strategies to master reasoning through language arts, reading and writing. Now in today's video, I'd like to elaborate a little on how self-reliance and self-discipline will change your life. Now, self-reliance and self-discipline are skill sets that have the power to lead you to success. There are skills that require lots of practice. However, if you practice them consistently, they can move you forward and prosper. So self-reliance is the understanding of the power of your own capabilities and resources. And the self-discipline is the discipline and training of oneself for personal improvement. So both can be challenging at first, but they can quickly become second nature. Here are my top reasons why you should practice these 2 important skill sets. So the first is getting things done in order to move ahead in life. If you've ever felt stuck in a situation, you're not alone. Life requires a lot of problem solving. And with self-reliance, you won't have to rely on someone else to do something for you. You'll be able to understand your own capabilities and use all of the resources that you have in order to get into a better situation. And second is that you'll gain a ton of confidence and satisfaction. Self-reliance is the ability to learn to count on yourself. And you can do this. And when you do, you'll be able to gain confidence and satisfaction in your own talents, skill sets, and resources. Moreover, you'll be less likely to complain and make excuses about your shortcomings. You'll have a healthier outlook in life, and which will then make you happier and help you on your new journey to success. And finally, you'll be able to overcome distractions and focus on what's important to you. So we all want to be happy and achieve all of our goals, right? But, unfortunately, there's always a distraction that could sidetrack us, from getting to where we want to go, right? So when you have self-discipline, you can recognize those distractions and turn your focus back to what's getting you ahead, whether that is pursuing your education or saving up money. And in speaking of money, budgeting your money and spending it in a smart way takes self-discipline. It's easy to spend money, but it's often a challenge to spend it in a smart way. So when you're continuously practicing self-discipline, you can get better with your money and set yourself up for financial success. For example, paying for your high school equivalency course may seem overwhelming to you right now, but let me tell you, when you spend money on your education, you're just setting yourself up for a happier and healthier future, with much more potential to getting a high-paying job. So if you want to learn more on how to set yourself up for the future, then head over to wilfredoreyes.com or click the link below. Now, without further ado, here's an example of the latest test-taking strategies you'll learn at Wil-do Academy as it pertains to the language arts reading and writing section of the high school equivalency exam.
Welcome to GED Reading, Breaking the Code, developed by Wil-do Incorporated. If you're watching this, it's because you're looking to do well on the GEDs, and that's great. And right now, by viewing this module, you've decided to concentrate on the reading part of the exam. That's terrific too, because you're about to find out that it's probably a lot easier than you think. Now, for most people, successful reading comes down to one idea: reading comprehension. And comprehending isn't about knowing every word. It's about getting the idea. In fact, when you think about it, you spend your whole day comprehending the world around you. When your friends talk to you, you get a sense of what they're talking about, and you respond. That's comprehension. And when you go to a movie, no one stops the film in the middle and says, "Hey, here's what this movie is all about." But still somehow you know. That's comprehension. And anytime you listen to a song and you pick up the feeling or the mood that the lyrics are trying to create, you're comprehending that too. So think about it. You don't have to know the meaning of each and every word in that conversation, that movie, or that song, but still you get what they're talking about. So if you can do that, which you obviously can, you're good at comprehension. Okay, now you might be thinking, fine, but those are all spoken words. That's not reading. Conversations, movies, songs, they don't happen on a page. They happen in your ears. Well, here's the thing about that. Every movie you go to began as a script. So the words you hear are no different from the words on a page. In fact, what you're listening to and understanding right now is nothing more than me reading words from a teleprompter. Here, take a look. Everything I'm saying is being read, and you're comprehending it. So you can comprehend the written word. Go ahead, try it. Just read what's on the screen in front of you. See? You can do it. So what's the difference between the part I read and the part you read? It's really pretty simple. One's in my voice and one's in your voice. And for some reason, words that come from other people are a lot easier to comprehend than words that come from inside yourself. So, what do successful readers do? They create those other people inside their heads. You probably do that all the time without even thinking about it. Here's a good example. Do you get emails? Do you instant message or text message? Well, anytime you look at and understand the words that are typed out on your computer screen in any of those forms, you've been successful in reading comprehension. And how about song lyrics? Today's songs from any time period, in fact, can use some pretty complicated words, sometimes lots of them. But chances are, when you open a CD and you read the lyrics on the inside pages, you get the message. You feel the feeling that's coming across. In short, you comprehend. So what is it that makes movies, songs, and notes from your friends easy and questions on a test hard? Well, basically, there are some pretty good answers to that, and they're worth remembering. Number one is, when you're reading something from a friend, you've got your friend's voice in your head, maybe even a picture of that person in your mind, and that includes a personality with the words. You're also interested in what they're writing, and that makes a difference too. But maybe most of all, you know what to expect. For instance, your friend isn't going to suddenly become someone else, and with movies and lyrics, you pretty much know the mood and feeling they're going to deliver right from the start. So, instead of going into the unknown, you're actually kind of prepared for the experience of what you're about to read. And having that, you can do the most important thing in reading. Focus on the meaning. That's what you're going to learn today through the Wil-do preparation module for the Language Arts Reading segment of your GED exam. Language Arts Reading is just one of the 5 subject areas evaluated in the GED test, and Wil-do offers modules for each of them. But remember, the tools you learn here are not a replacement for studying. Instead, they're meant to help you approach the exam in a way that makes the test simpler, clearer, and easier to handle. The best thing you can do is to watch this video and study your high school English with a book or study guide. But right now, it's time to get a good basic overview of what this part of the exam will be like. So let's start there.
Language arts reading on the GED test was actually easy for me. I'm a real good reader, and I love to write things and talk, so it was my easiest subject. I flew right through it. It was just a lot of questions, a lot of read over this paragraph and see the mistakes that are in it and the sentence structure. All that stuff to me, it was just easy. I blew right through it in a matter of minutes. So that was the easiest part of the test. I feel as though it was the easiest part of the test.
So now that you've heard a little about the experience of taking the Language Arts Reading segment of the GED, let's talk about what you can expect to see when you take it. Overall, you're going to find several different reading passages, each followed by a set of multiple-choice questions. Most of the selections you read will be fiction, stories that authors made up from their imagination to create a feeling or communicate an idea. The smaller portion will be nonfiction. These will be things like a book or movie review, a piece about news or history like you might find in a newspaper, and work-related documents, the kind you might see on the job. These usually have to do with understanding rules or instructions of some kind. So, now that you have a general idea of what to expect, let's go into a little more detail. Here's a sample of how a question might appear when you open your test book. Notice that right up front, before the reading sample even begins, there's a question in bold type. That question is there as a guide. It tells you what to look for as you read, and that helps you focus your reading. But it's not the only question that does that. The questions after the selection, the ones you answer on the exam, do the same thing. That's why our suggestion is, always move the question to the top. Why should you do that? Because each question tells you what to look for. So doesn't it make sense to know what you're searching for before you try to find it? Also, if you do this with each question, you'll be rereading the selection several times, and that'll make it easier for you to find the answers to upcoming questions. Because usually, you'll have 4 or more questions to answer about each selection. Oh, and by the way, you don't have to complete the first question before moving on to the second. If at any time a question gets you stuck, just move on to the next one and come back to that one later. Those questions will be easy to spot because they're the ones that won't have a dot where you filled in the answer. So now, let's put these ideas to work by taking on our first sample reading question. Step 1. Read the question in bold. Remember, this is the question you use to focus your reading. And here we see that it asks, what kind of place is the house of Usher? What does this question tell us to focus on? First, it asks, what kind of place is this house? So that tells us we should look for something that makes this house unusual. Second, it says the selection we're about to read is all about a house. Now, that might seem pretty obvious, but it does help you focus, because as you read through the selection, you'll know the main idea has something to do with a house. Well, now that you have a sense of the main thing you're looking for, it's time to narrow down your focus. You do that by reading the first question you have to answer. Let's see what this one says. In the first paragraph, how is the rider feeling? Excited and happy, tired and hungry, fearful and depressed, courageous and strong, ready for a challenge? Notice that question tells us just where to look to find the answer. We don't have to look at everything, just the first paragraph. So that's good to know. Second, it tells us that there's a rider in this story. Whether that person's in a car or on horseback, we don't know yet. But we do know we're supposed to be alert to what he's feeling. And basically, we've got a choice of 5 different feelings, only one of which can be correct. Those choices, excited and happy, tired and hungry, fearful and depressed, courageous and strong, and ready for a challenge. At this point, we pretty well know what kind of thing we're looking for. So armed with that information, let's go look for it. Now it's time to read the text. Okay, here's that first paragraph. During the whole of a dull, dark, and soundless day in the autumn of the year, when the clouds hung oppressively low in the heavens, I had been passing alone on horseback through a singularly dreary tract of country, and at a length found myself, as the shades of the evening drew on, within view of the melancholy house of Usher. I know not how it was, but with the first glimpse of the building, a sense of insufferable gloom pervaded my spirit. Whoa, those are a lot of words there, and possibly quite a few that you may not know. But you don't have to worry about that, and here's why. When you're reading for meaning, you don't have to know the meaning of every word. In fact, if you went back to that paragraph and simply removed every word that seemed unknown or hard to understand, you'd still have a pretty good idea of what was going on. Don't believe me? Okay, let's try it. We're going to go through this paragraph and take out almost anything that seems a little bit difficult. You might even know some of the words we're taking out, but you'll see the point. Okay, here it goes. during the whole of a dull, dark, and soundless day. Now, let's strike the whole of. In the autumn of the year, take out of the year, when the clouds hung oppressively low in the heavens. Let's ditch oppressively, and in the heavens, and keep going. I had been passing alone, drop passing, on horseback. Now we know what he's riding. Through a singularly dreary tract of country. Okay, let's get rid of a singularly dreary and tract of. Oh, and here's one thing I should mention. You can't write in the GED test book, so the crossouts you see demonstrated here will have to occur in your head, not on the paper. And at length found myself, drop at length, as the shades of the evening drew on. Strike the shades of the, within view of the melancholy house of Usher. Okay, well, let's get rid of melancholy. Now, we don't know what the house of Usher is, but it's pretty easy to guess that it's the name of a house. And besides, the focus question told us it was important, so we'll keep that. The next sentence starts out clear, but gets a little more complicated as it goes on. I know not how it was, but with the first glimpse of the building, a sense of insufferable gloom pervaded my spirit. So let's cross out insufferable and pervaded. What do we have left? This. During a dull, dark, and soundless day in the autumn, when the clouds hung low, I had been alone on horseback through the country and found myself, as the evening drew on, within view of the house of Usher. I know not how it was, but with the first glimpse of the building, a sense of gloom, my spirit. Now, it might not be perfectly worded, but the feeling is definitely there. So let's go back to our question. In the first paragraph, how is the writer feeling? Is he A, excited and happy? Definitely not. How about B, tired and hungry? Could be, but he never mentioned feeling tired or hungry. C says fearful and depressed. Well, that's pretty much it. But let's just check the other two to make sure. D, courageous and strong. No. And what about E, ready for a challenge? Well, the feeling is much more defeated and gloomy than upbeat and pumped. So what's the answer? C. And it's a pretty clear answer at that. So to make the point again, when you're reading for meaning, you don't have to know the meaning of every word. Well, since you answered the first question, let's move on to the second question. Here it is.
My friend, if you enjoyed that video short and you want the complete version of it, just head over to wilfredoreyes.com or click the link below and download it for free. Hey, if you got value out of that video, can you please give me a big thumbs up? You know it'll help the algorithm and it'll help my channel tremendously. Please consider subscribing and share this video with your friends and family and on social media. I would greatly appreciate that. And make sure you stay tuned so that you don't miss out on that final video of this 4-part video series, as I will be sharing with you the latest test-taking strategies you'll learn at Wil-do Academy as it pertains to the mathematics section of the high school equivalency exams. If the next video is already out, you should see it over here somewhere. If not, stay tuned. I promise you, I'm going to provide you a ton of value. Hey, and don't forget to head over to wilfredoreyes.com or click the link below to learn more on how we can help you achieve success the Wil-do way. Now, let me leave you with this last note. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And as usual, if you can tell me what you want, I can tell you how to get it. Just put your comments down below and I'll be sure to hit you up.